President Bola Tinubu set out for the three-nation trip. The first leg was to France, and then back to the continent for the Africa France Summit 2026 in Nairobi. It was the first time France was meeting with Anglophone African countries on the platform. The previous summit involved France and Francophone African countries, and this edition marks a major shift. The summit was tagged Africa France Summit, apparently to indicate that France is ready to put Africa first in cooperation and partnership. Nigeria's president was attending alongside other African leaders.
I think that this meeting is good because now the focus of the meeting is shifting away from just wooing investors to come to steering our own people to rise to occasion by utilizing what they already have and what they are doing. And even in this France-Africa Summit, you see that the rest of the world are here. They are here not just to observe, but also to hear about the much that African countries have in its partnership with France. Although it is a partnership with France, but it creates the opportunity for the rest of the world also to be a part of what we're doing.
Jomo Kenyatta, first Kenyan president, dropped some words on the marble. Part of them, and I quote, "Our children may learn about heroes of the past. Our task is to make ourselves architects of the future." End of quote. President Bola Tinubu was at the Kenyatta International Convention Center as Africa took a major step towards the future they want. Many other leaders on the continent also approved of the decision with their presence. 54 countries on the continent, with the youngest population in the world, enormous resources and fertile land, world-class entrepreneurs and the required markets. African countries are saying enough of dependency on developed countries for development. Co-organizer President William Ruto, who spoke for the continent, says what Africa requires now is no longer charity, but partnerships and investments in a dignified manner for mutual benefit.
We must confront with honesty and urgency the question of how Africa finances its own transformation. The era in which Africa's development was principally framed through aid, dependency, and unsustainable borrowing must give way to a new paradigm grounded in investment, innovation, domestic resource mobilization, and strategic partnerships built on quality and mutual benefit. What Africa requires today, friends, is not charity, but investments. Not extraction, but value creation. Not dependency, but mutually beneficial partnerships capable of unlocking shared prosperity.
The demand for African representation in the United Nations Security Council has lingered for long, and President Ruto is rooting for this again.
No global governance architecture can credibly claim to be democratic, to be representative, to be just, or fit for purpose, while a substantial part of humanity remains absent from the table where the world's most consequential decisions are made.
With an earlier announcement of a $27 billion investment in the continent at this summit, President Emmanuel Macron is presenting France as a dependable ally, ready for a mutually respectful and beneficial relationship.
So what we need to do is look at the partnership that we want together through a logic of investment. And this is where we see this agenda of prosperity and sovereignty altogether. Getting Africa forward on the economic level means greater sovereignty and autonomy. It's important for Europeans as well.
Like an idea of whose time has come, this registers as a new beginning in the Africa-France partnership. The gains of a renewed relationship are much expected. Nigerian investors, including Aliko Dangote, Abdul Samad Rabiu, and their French counterparts, leveraged the Africa Front Summit to again strengthen their partnerships. It was the 10th meeting of the Nigeria Front Business Council. They recognized themselves as the driving force for a sustainable and protective partnerships between the two countries, with exchange of investments across. Nigeria currently represents 7% of the France's total trade in Africa and leading destination of French foreign direct investments in sub-Saharan Africa. Nigerian Minister of Industry, Trade and Investments, Jumoke Oduwole, said Nigeria is taking steps to lead intra-Africa trade and a more integrated continental markets, which she wants the Council to also champion. Chairman of BUA Group, Abdul Samad Rabiu, recommends 3 foundations needed for the transformation of the continent to include capital, policy integration, and value addition has been demonstrated in the Nigerian cement industry.
Value addition so that all the resources that we have here in Africa will be able to add value to them. Instead of exporting everything in their raw form, we process them here, add value, and then export. If you take cocoa, for example, I keep giving this example because it's very interesting. 4 countries in Africa, in fact West Africa, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon, they produce 75% of the total global supply of cocoa. This is a $200 billion industry annually, yet Africa gets only a fraction, maybe 10, probably 15% of that. So these are the areas that we need, to concentrate on.
The Council also commended the African House in France, initiated by President Emmanuel Macron to deepen trade relations between both countries.
What that does is, if completed, that is a venue where Africans will have the opportunity to dialogue, to connect, to collaborate, and also to build partnerships, across so many different sectors, industry, business, culture, innovation, in France, with the French people. So I think it's an important thing. We welcomed, the idea, and we are going to the African business community. We are going to fully support that project.
The Council proposes one more meeting ahead of the French president's visit to Nigeria, scheduled for October this year. President Bola Tinubu arrived in Kigali for another continental stage. It was to attend the annual Africa CEO Forum under the theme Scale of Fail, with the prospect of the largest gathering of African private sector leaders, investors, and policymakers focusing on accelerating economic transformation through shared scale, regional integration, and increased cross-border investment. The Uruguero Presidential Village was the port of call where the host president, Paul Kagame, waited to receive this special guest. Both leaders engaged in bilateral talks.
The discussions were very, very cordial. The sacrifice it is for the president to be here at this time, signifying the importance of the relationship between the two countries and why Mr. President is here today. They're both leaders in the AFCFTA. As you know, Nigeria is co-champion on digital trade. We talked about how to leverage the African Continental Free Trade Area. They talked about the importance of accelerating the pace at which we're trading. We talked about ongoing relations. You know, last year we entered into an air cargo corridor arrangement with Uganda Airways. We're also in talks with Rwandan Airways to see how Nigerian businesses can export more of their goods across the continent. And so those are the kinds of trading goods and trading services. We also had discussions from other colleagues, briefing both presidents, and it was a very fruitful deliberation.
President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
President Bola Tinubu was one of the leaders selected as special guest on this stage, where about 2,800 participants gathered for issues of concern.
Gentlemen, kindly take your seats. We're about to start.
Fresh from the renewed determination in Nairobi for self-development in Africa, these leaders on another platform in Kigali are interrogating the reality on the continent.
So why is Africa always at a disadvantage?
It is a rhetorical question in view of enormous resources, including the human capital in abundance in the region, vis-a-vis the reality of underdevelopment, backwardness, and in some cases instability in parts of the continent. While the answers may not be far-fetched, the private community is taking up the responsibility of proffering solutions.
Africa does not lack ambition. What it has lacked is coordinated execution at scale. The next decade will not be defined by detached progress, but by system-level transformation. The question is no longer whether Africa can grow. It is whether Africa can grow as one integrated economic system.
Going forward, the Africa CEOs are suggesting scaling up investment and intention to rewrite failures of the past and avoid the future ones.
The talent is here, the capital exists, the ambition in this room is undeniable. What has been missing is execution at scale. The kind of scale that turned energy into factories, factories into jobs, and local enterprises into continental champions. This decade must be the one where Africa stops exporting its potential and starts delivering its performance.
They believe Africa must rise with determination to turn around the situation with right policies, aggressive infrastructural development, and purposeful value addition to its resources for the benefit of the people of the continent and the world.
CEOs and other Africans, I think we need to give ourselves value of some kind. We can't just be people who are waiting to be ripped off by somebody who is shrewd enough and has the power to come. No, we must be able to say no.
The key word is to leverage the potential and capacity on the continent for its advantage.
President Tinubu.
When the African organized private community decided to gauge the commitment of African leaders towards continental aspirations, President of the largest economy on the continent was called to the stage. And sharing the stage with a president of another oil-producing country, President Oligui Nguema of Gabon, President Tinubu displayed his knowledge of the issues on the continent with suggestions for solution to the hindrances on the pathway to growth and development. With the private sector in Africa expressing readiness to scale up for greater prosperity, President Tinubu believes government on the continent must deliberately support them to make meaningful contribution to the overall regional growth. He assured that his administration has demonstrated this with support to investors with a ready example of a Dangote refinery.
A risk taker like a Dangote refinery must be encouraged by the government in power. What I did, support him, give him free trade zone license, support him in the effort to source the crude that is necessary. And today he is the exporter, net exporter of both the PMS, aviation fuel, and other commodities.
He suggests a commodity platform which he believes will ensure trade and economic growth in the region, while also emphasizing on value addition to the resources on the continent.
Now, no one can take metal out of Nigeria without adding value. No one. Gone are the days where you can excavate the dust, all the minerals, and go. No. Look around the entire continent. 54 countries. There's none of us without a particular commodity available in the country or the other. Why not start an exchange commodity platform where we can trade with one another?
President Tinubu also highlighted various transformative reforms of his administration, which he said are yielding results in the agriculture, telecommunications, infrastructure development, among other sectors.
Removing all the bottlenecks, giving you necessary incentives for direct foreign investment into the country. This year alone, I can beat my chest that Nigeria is attracting close to $20 billion foreign direct investment. It's because unwind the bottlenecks, be efficient, be transparent, be open.
President Tinubu and his co-panelists say African leaders must rise and support their expressions with actions to grow Africa and ensure more respect for the continent on the global stage. The private sector on the continent are again interested in Nigeria, and the interest has been so particular as it comes, apparently, is in view of a common belief that the continent would be right once the giants of Africa gets its rights. President Tinubu on the continental stage again. The report of the Tinubu's administration has certainly traveled around the world. And here, the organizers are concerned about the sustainability of the reforms and perhaps to get the idea behind the reforms for others to emulate. From the subsidy removal to the harmonization of the exchange rates and the tax reforms, the president assures that his administration has been intentional about these reforms from the outset and to reset the economy.
Tax is a priority. A citizen that pays tax is a citizen, whether corporate or individual. If you are not a taxpayer, are not exempted, then you are not a citizen. I chose to use cement being produced in Nigeria, a concrete road, so that I don't have to import bitumen and give foreign exchange to a non-productive sector of the economy. The steel being used is made in Nigeria. So my philosophy is Nigeria first.
With assurance again that the reforms are yielding results with the economy stabilized, they are interested in the next move of the Nigerian leader.
What would you do in the first 2 years of your second term?
Do more work. More challenges are there. The world won't wait for anybody. You have to continue to reset and rethink, challenge the intellectual curiosity of you as a government The philosophy I came with in governance is believing that the hallmark of a transformative leader is the ability to take decisions, do what you do at the time it ought to be done on behalf of the people.
President Tinubu also underscores the necessity of his country cooperating with other West African countries towards addressing the security challenge in the sub-region while also maintaining its big brother role on the continent.
In ECOWAS, Nigeria is a big brother. In Africa, we are the fat lady. We must sing the tune. We must sing the right tune for others to pay attention to it. And that is what we are doing. Well,
he assures that his government will continue to support corporate bodies and other Nigerians for the overall good of the nation. As captains of industry and leaders of international financial organizations converged on Kigali, President Tinubu has also been engaging with many of them on the margins of the Africa CEO Forum. Regional President of APM Terminals, Igor van den Essen, led other executives to meet with President Tinubu and lauded the Nigerian leaders' reforms and policy directions, which he acknowledged has further strengthened investors' confidence and created renewed momentum for long-term infrastructure investments. They indicated investment interest in Apapa Seaport modernization, logistics infrastructure, and long-term private sector investments in Nigeria's maritime sector. President Tinubu welcomed the investments, emphasizing that Nigeria is repositioning itself for greater competitiveness through ongoing economic reforms and infrastructure modernization.
The APM, they are already in Nigeria. They have an agreement and contract to be there till 2031, but at that meeting they announced they're interested in investing another $600 million, and that was a very important meeting.
The Managing Director of International Finance Corporation, IFC, Diop Mokhtar, also led his team to discuss with President Tinubu on modalities for collaboration with Nigeria in energy, housing, and livestock production. The organization proposes to immediately send a team to Nigeria to explore scalable investment structures that could unlock private capital into the sector. President Mamadi Doumbouya of Guinea also visited President Tinubu, where both leaders discussed the possible areas of collaboration between both countries.
It was quite interesting that there's a lot the two countries can do together. Mr. President commended the President of Guinea for not withdrawing from ECOWAS when the pressure was much on him to do that. He was thinking about the vision for ECOWAS is something you could relate with rather than something that was put together in a hurry. And I think there's also a lot that the two countries can do together in the area of development. Some of it is to do with iron ore, and the partnership is, we're stronger together.
In another meeting with Winmim Group executives, President Tinubu called for deeper investment partnerships to unlock Nigeria's opportunities in logistics, mining, shipping, and integrated infrastructure development. After his prominent participation on the stage of the just concluded Africa CEO Forum, it was onto the stage facilitated by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. It was for the usual interface with Nigerians in diaspora. And in the case of Rwanda, Nigerians here would get a sense of belonging with the pleasure of direct access to their president. It was an opportunity well utilized, as many of them would bear their minds with the latitude, given by their leader.
I work for all these women.
They lauded the well-noticed reforms of the administration, including the improved access and renewal of international passports, as well as the stability in the nation's economy.
For the forex float, now I can send my money to Nigeria without getting scared that the money will turn to 1 naira tomorrow. That's based on the reforms that you've done. There could be things from it, but that's what we need to survive as a country.
But beyond that, many of them who have made their marks in various sectors across the globe are eager to give back to Nigeria.
Yes, and we can bring in investment, we can bring in the money, we can bring in the people to create what we have created here and in other places in Africa. Trust me, yes. And I come in this in the name of doing it. I'm not looking for anybody's money. I have my own money. I want to do it for my country. It is a pride to me.
Whatever is the obstacle back home, we will solve that.
Not only getting assurances of the president on their plans to give back, but also that the government is working to ensure a country to be proud of. While he demands patriotism from the citizenry, the president renews his pledge to the country and its people.
All I can promise you as a leader is that I will lead with sincerity. Regardless of tribe, religion, I don't care. What else do I promise you? Governance. Nigeria's prosperity is beginning to manifest itself. I will continue to work hard to make sure that we realize our dreams and leave a legacy of continuity, of progress, inclusiveness, and prosperity.
The community came up with really amazing ideas and innovations which Mr. President has instructed that has to be worked on. For instance, is a Nigerian who developed the sports city here in Rwanda and is willing to do something back home.
The Nigerians in the East African country promised to continue to protect the reputation of Nigeria in their sojourn abroad.